Hi everyone, my name is Jailer. My partners Dion and George are alongside me as well. For our project, we decided to take a comparative approach into data-intensive systems. We want to start off with an introduction, then get into what our motivation was for choosing our topic. We will be focusing on three specific platforms that are listed on the screen and talk a bit about what we hope to learn and gain from this project, as well as concluding our final thoughts and saving any answers for questions that you guys may have at the very end.
All right, thank you, Jailer. The purpose of our project is to discuss how big data can be used as a service by organizations and companies to benefit their clients. We chose to focus on three data-intensive systems, all of which are platforms with tools to help with managing, processing, and analyzation of large data sets. Companies from all over the world, from all types of industries, use these platforms to help identify risks, manage operations, connect with customers, all in a more efficient manner. Some of the motivations that drove us to doing this project include getting a better understanding of big data as a service, and moreover, understanding the architecture that goes into developing these different platforms. We also want to get a better understanding how these services affect the relationships between a company and their clients. I will now give it to George, who will tell you about Apache.
So Apache HBase is a NoSQL database management system that was designed in 2007 by PowerSet, which is a Microsoft company. A motivation to use Apache HBase is that it is important to store data for the many applications that are used in our day-to-day life. Social media apps of streaming applications take full advantage of HBase. Apache HBase provides the hosting of very large tables with the capability of billions of rows times millions of columns, and it's open source, giving the ability to be accessed by everyone. So the advantages of HBase is that it has a high scalability that can scale your applications across thousands of servers, since HBase applications scale linearly. Another advantage that we have is that it has low latency, which has read and write access to big amounts of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. Finally, one of the other big advantages that we see are that we found in the research was that the base data is split across many hosts in a cluster, which the system can withstand the failure of an individual host. For the cons now, one big problem that we found out was that it has a single point of failure. This means that the time when only HMaster is used, there is a possibility of failure. This is a risk since it can affect clients' use, mainly for the architecture. Another problem that we found out was that the joins in the database are only handled by the MapReduce layer. This is a big disadvantage since although it's not supported directly by HBase, it can still be implemented in the application. The problem is that it requires to do the joins by using an alternative like Spark or Hive. And the final problem that we want to highlight is that we found problematic the memory issues that it has on the cluster. HBase has the issue that can have some solutions, but may not be the best for the memory issue. And finally, to see the real world issues that we have with HBase are that the real world uses is that they are used on the medical field to store diseases histories from people of certain areas. In sports, is pretty used widely to analyze and predict, players' data. And it's also used in the oil and petroleum industry to store exploration of data and analyze and predict oil places where oil can be found. And it has many uses for different applications as well.
Yeah, so MongoDB is also a NoSQL database program that provides support for JSON-like storage. Like most platforms, there are advantages and disadvantages, so let's get right into them. For starters, MongoDB offers a simple query syntax that is much easier to grasp than SQL. Another advantage is scalability. MongoDB uses sharding while handling large data sets. Sharding is a process of dividing data from large data sets and distributing it to multiple servers. Unlike SQL databases that use vertical scalability, sharding allows MongoDB to use horizontal scalability. Another pro or advantage is its flexibility. Businesses keep evolving, and so does the data they maintain. MongoDB's schema is not predefined, meaning that it has a dynamic architecture that could adapt and provide flexibility. A major limitation of MongoDB, though, is the duplication of data. Because of this, there is an increase in data redundancy, which takes up unnecessary space in the memory. And lastly, MongoDB's document allows for a limited size of only 16 megabytes. But overall, MongoDB's pros outweigh its cons, which is why a lot of businesses currently use it. Over 31,000 companies today are using MongoDB to build scalable applications. These include the likes of Toyota, EA, Uber, eBay, just to name a few.
All right, thank you. So Haystack. Haystack is the photo storage system designed by Facebook to store photos on a large scale. And by large, we're talking about 260 billion large. Yeah. But to give you some of the pros, especially when we're comparing it to what was previously used, which was actually an NAS over NFS architecture, it is cost effective, more cost effective than that was. It is more efficient. It is incrementally scalable. It actually has a higher throughput, and it is also fault tolerant, which is important. And to give you more of an idea of that real world usage, so Facebook reportedly stored over 260 billion photos, of which equates to about tens of petabytes of data. And how we get to that is, so of those 260 billion photos, Facebook generates 4 images per uploaded photo to increase adaptability across devices.
Okay, for the outcomes, we want to dig deep and find out how these companies and industries are using these data-intensive platforms globally to their benefit. Basically, knowing how they optimize their work and their processes by using these technologies and these NoSQL bases, how they organize and search for this information. As you know, big data can come in different ways as form of analyzing information or storing that data. And we want to find out how these businesses handle the different data sets among all the platforms that are available and why these are really important for them. We want to understand why these companies choose these specific platforms and not the other ones, why these platforms are so important, special to them. We want to know if it's because of the advantages or disadvantages. We want to know if it's something that has to do, if it's more oriented towards their business model. And we want to find out why these specific platforms are being used by these companies and industries. So the conclusion, we are centering our project around big data, and we want to explore the architectures that are being used as a service for different clients that require these specific NoSQL databases, as well as some specific like Facebook Haystack. Well, you can see that data is increasing exponentially around the world, and people every day are increasing the amount of data that they want to store. Therefore, it needs an architecture that's able to handle it correctly and without too many failures. Many companies choose these architectures because they can handle large amounts of data and they work efficiently. This conclusion leads to the fact that although they are really important to work with, they can be optimized, and each architecture serves a specific purpose, and we want to explore in what situations those purposes are being used as.
Okay, thank you. So here we have our list of references that we used in writing this project. We have a comparative study, MongoDB versus MySQL. We have Finding the Needle in the Haystack, Facebook's photo storage, was written by Doug Beaver. We have the scalability of Facebook architecture, new contributions in information systems and technologies. And we'll have this list available if anyone would like to review it. Discussion part. So we now open up the floor for any questions that you may have for us. We'll be happy to answer them now.